Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, Fairbanks, and thank you for joining us. It's a double team for Eielson thanks to Alaska's 2 U.S. senators.
Today, Senators Lisa Murkowski and Mark Begich co-sponsored an amendment that would prohibit the move of the F-16s from Eielson Air Force Base until the year 2014. The senators' bill would delay any sort of structure movement pending the National Commission for the Structure of the Air Force set up in the National Defense Authorization Act reports on its findings. The year delay may be critical for Alaska's military readiness, military families, and the entire Fairbanks community.
Joe Miller, who lost the U.S. Senate race to Lisa Murkowski in 2010, says he's considering a run for the Senate next year. Miller appeared at the Alaska Libertarian Party convention held this past Saturday in Anchorage. Miller says he's not at the point where people are being hired for a campaign, but he says he's considering running. Miller won the primary election in 2010 after being backed by the Tea Party. However, fellow Republican Murkowski prevailed in the general election with write-in votes. Alaska Republican Chair Debbie Brown says Republicans would like to replace Democratic Senator Mark Begich with a conservative Republican senator.
We are contemplating a run. It's not even at a point, though, where, obviously we've hired people or anything like that. But we are giving it consideration. We'll make a decision. We aren't going to sit on it forever.
Last week, the Alaska State Senate unanimously approved legislation that financially backs a trucking project for natural gas to the interior. Now, this week, the House version of the bill is expected to move from the Labor and Commerce Committee to Finance Committee. Meanwhile, a newly formed natural gas utility is reaching out for help to tackle the issue of distribution. Last week, the Alaska State House Committee on Labor and Commerce was inundated with public testimony in support of House Bill 74, legislation that financially kickstarts natural gas trucking to the interior. Among those who spoke, Bob Shefchek, who heads the Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce Energy Committee and also heads the newly created Interior Alaska Natural Gas Utility. Shefchek says should the bill ultimately pass, development will quickly follow.
It would surprise me if there wasn't construction going on up north starting this summer and that you'd see extensions of the distribution system follow shortly after. The highway systems will clearly benefit from the availability of gas. The ability of propane or LNG to reach the river systems is a little more difficult, but really it's the first step toward changing that diesel economy through the whole interior, not just Fairbanks.
Shefchek says House representatives need to remind themselves of what gas means to the interior.
Largest number of people at the lowest possible cost as quickly as possible. Those three things, if they use those as guidelines, they won't go wrong.
Recently, the natural gas utility contacted Instar out of Anchorage with the possibility of public-private partnership to help build out the distribution system here in the interior. While there is interest by Instar, Fairbanks Natural Gas President and CEO Dan Britton says he has presented to the board on numerous things, but has not had similar talks regarding distribution.
The utility can contact any potential operator and reach out to them to see if they're interested in partnering or providing services. A little surprised that they haven't had any detailed discussions with us as of this date.
While no agreements have been signed between the utility and Instar, Dan Britton believes the mantra, largest number of people, lowest possible cost, as quickly as possible, includes Fairbanks Natural Gas.
We have a significant amount of experience in the LNG operations, as well as the distribution side with the specific conditions here in Fairbanks, and have existing operators, existing 24-hour staff, existing emergency call numbers. So an integration possibly closer to home might make some more sense.
All right, Daryl, well, the sun is shining.
Yes.
It's still up. So dare I say spring is near?
No, I would never say that.
I don't know. Mike Schultz, tell us about the weather.
Spring is actually 2 days away for the lower 48, but not for Alaska. It's just not the same thing. On our satellite radar day, you can see we're looking at a little bit of a circulation down in the Gulf of Alaska. Some of that might spin a little moisture up our direction and bring in a little more cloud cover, but not tonight. And tonight we're looking at maybe another possibility, some dynamite northern lights like we had over the weekend. Over the west coast, things are looking pretty good there. In the lower 48 on the west coast, another storm's coming in. A lot more snow to talk about. We'll talk about all the weather later on. Stephanie, Daryl?
Snow? No.
Yes.
No snow.
Say it's not snow.
Okay, well, when we come back, one of 2 men arrested in a stolen car Saturday was an escapee from a local halfway house.
Also, it was a startup weekend for business. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Northland Hearing Services. Better hearing with a human touch.
Life Med Alaska, Spenard Builder Supply.
And by First National Bank of Alaska, where Alaska's dreams grow.
Welcome back. One of two possible suspects detained by city police after eluding them in a stolen car was an inmate who had recently escaped from the North Star Center. Several Fairbanks police officers tracked the stolen Mercury sedan through town just after 3 p.m. on Saturday. While the vehicle was being detained, police received information that on Friday, North Star inmate Frank Yara Jr. had escaped from a transport van while parked at the West Fred Meyer store. Yara was one of the men apprehended during Saturday's traffic stop. He was subsequently transported back to jail.
A ship has arrived to tow the Culloch, a damaged Royal Dutch Shell Arctic drilling barge, and it has arrived in the Alaska port of Dutch Harbor. The Culloch will be prepped for loading and transported aboard the Zhang Ruku to a shipyard for repairs. The loading could start as soon as Tuesday. The 711-foot-long Zhang Ruku can use a series of 61 ballast tanks to submerge its main deck with a pair of bow thrusters, allowing it to move beneath the cargo, then surface to load it. The Culloch was being towed to Seattle for repairs when it broke loose from its towing vessel and ran aground on New Year's Eve.
The memorial for a Fort Wainwright soldier who died from a gunshot wound early this month has been scheduled. It is to be held tomorrow morning at the Northern Lights Chapel at 10 a.m. Specialist Corey R. Smathers, age 22 of Gloucester, Ohio, who was an infantryman with the 1st Battalion, 24th Infantry Regiment, part of the 1st Stryker Brigade Combat Team, 25th Infantry Division at Fort Wainwright, was found dead at the scene by Alaska State Troopers. Smathers entered the Army in March 2010, completed basic and advanced individual training at Fort Benning, Georgia, and arrived at Fort Wainwright in July of 2010. Now the incident is under investigation by Alaska State Troopers still, and the next of kin have been notified.
Representative Shelley Hughes today introduced House Concurrent Resolution 6 to recognize the Alaska Center for Unmanned Aircraft Systems Integration at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Drones have helped with guiding the oil tanker Tanome to restock their tank farm in the winter, locating a downed airplane near Bethel a few months ago, and have even been used for accurately counting sea lions that kept them off the endangered species list. This has reduced risk of human and animal lives.
Business Startup Weekend is a global movement that brings together entrepreneurs who are learning what the basics of what it takes to launch a successful business are. Now, this past weekend, Interior Alaska hosted entrepreneurs who had these ideas. Anyone was welcome to pitch their startup idea and receive feedback from their peers. The weekend concluded with presentations in front of local entrepreneurial leaders who then received feedback. The winning team for the Startup Weekend pitched a unique idea that they felt could be used in Interior Alaska.
Which is a bike share. It's basically a bike share program. So you see this in other cities internationally. They're all over the place. And we wondered what that might be like for Fairbanks. Would Fairbanks support that kind of service? And what we did is we explored that idea. And basically this is a point-to-point, an ad hoc point-to-point transportation system. There is no other such system in Fairbanks. So what it looks like is an individual can go to a bike share station and lease a bike for either a ride, a day, or subscribe for a longer period of time.
In 3 hours Saturday, 100 people got their head shaved in Fairbanks for the St. Baldrick's Foundation. The nationwide event is held each year to raise awareness and money for childhood cancer research. Those involved this year locally had a goal of $20,000, but brought in $10,000 more than that. Local firefighters are heavily involved in the event, with many of them giving up their hair for the cause each year.
That's a great cause.
Yeah, we should do it next year.
I don't know.
Both of us.
I don't think I look really good bald.
Well, you never know until you try. All right.
All right, so Joe is
Joe,
waiting in the wings.
In the wings, yeah. Historic racing this weekend for the Open North American, and we have a local boy who's made good. Yeah, so Joe Cook with sports right after this.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. It's Monday, so it's time for another weekend recap. Leading off is the GCI Open North American Championship sled dog race, which ended this weekend in Fairbanks. This year's champ in sprint dog mushing is Arlie Reynolds, this salsa veterinarian, won his first Open North American Championship with the fastest time over the 3-day event. Reynolds finished in 3 hours, 32 minutes, and 50.5 seconds. Reynolds beat out King Sejic of Michigan by 3 minutes. Reynolds won Friday's 20-mile by 22 seconds. On Saturday, he raced ahead, winning by over 2 minutes. Then on Sunday, finished the 27-mile race just under 90 minutes. Egil Ellis, the 12-time champ, including the last 5 Open Norths, finished in third. Greg Sellington of Willow was fourth, and Mark Hartoum of Alberta rounds out the top 5. And the Fresno Monsters were determined not to get swept by the Ice Dogs Saturday night in the Big Dipper. Fresno's Gordon Wells struck first with a score at the 13:43 mark of the opening period. Fresno's offense continued to produce by way of a Matt Soluturo goal. 6:43 into the second stanza, the Ice Dogs did put on a rally. About 7 minutes later, the Ice Dogs answered with Corinne Klein's second goal of the season. Doug Rose and Garrett Clement assisted on the goal, which cut the 2-goal deficit to 1. But Fresno's defense and goalie Thomas Scholl stood tall, contesting 37 Ice Dog shots. Scholl saved 36 in the 2-1 win, ending a 9-game winning streak for the Ice Dogs, which was the second longest winning streak in the NAHL this season. The Monsters did some soul searching to get this win.
At the end of 3 hours of meetings and talking and laying our hearts out there a little bit, guys finally realized exactly what they need to do, and they executed that tonight.
Looking back on these last however many 10 games, like, we've played some pretty good hockey, and you know, we didn't really have, like you said, that extra spark tonight, and it kind of bit us. So you know, we need to rally around our leadership and make sure we have the mentality that you know, it's not going to be 2 in a row. It ends here. So.
The state tournament for the 3A and 4A teams are just days away, and today we caught up with the Lathrop boys basketball team before they head to Anchorage tomorrow. The Malamutes won the regular season and Mid-Alaska Conference tournament to punch their ticket to March Madness. The Malamutes are a veteran team led by 4 seniors, Gabriel Cunningham, Everett Green, Tevin Gladden, and Tremont Washington. Kyle Carlson, the junior, plays like a senior as well, so this team feels ready to make some noise at state after a solid season of conference and non-conference play, including a buzzer beater over West Anchorage a few weeks ago. That close game has toughened the Malamutes, who will face West Anchorage in Game 1.
Really focused on West Anchorage right now, and I feel like we're ready. We got the seniors, got our leadership, you know, make sure the young guys, when they come off the bench, they ready, because you never know what happened, you know. So I feel like we're well prepared.
Our dilemma is in our heads. Once we see those Anchorage uniforms, we just get awed by it. Anchorage's got to be better than us. They just have to be better than us. And we've proven in the past that that's not necessarily true. And I'm hoping that this crew is mentally tough enough to handle a run. So what happens in Anchorage is we let them get their run. And if we can't recover and get back in the game, then it's over for us. And we're hoping we can stand a run and get back in the game. That's where we are, I think.
In the 2013 Marriott USSA Junior National Cross Country Ski Championships, Team Alaska returned the Alaska Cup home. Team Alaska won the Cup for the 15th time in junior national history, the most by any team, but Team New England had won the past 4 years. Now the trophy is back in Fairbanks thanks to the winning efforts of our local skiers. Team Alaska won the Junior 2 boys division, older junior men and women, and took third in Junior 1 and 2 girls and Junior 1 boys. After 4 days of races, Alaska produced 1,439 points, and Team England finished second. Team New England finished second with 1,221 points. Former West Valley ski star Hannah Boyer finished her junior career with a gold in the 10K mass start, and UAF's Logan Hahnemann finished his junior career with 3 golds and a silver medal. And now don't forget to fill out a bracket in the KTVF College Hoops Challenge. Just go to webcenter11.com, register, fill out a bracket for a chance to win a 1-month membership to the Alaska Club, 2 large pizzas from Pizza Hut, and a KTVF ball cap plus bragging rights, because I'm playing too. And tomorrow we will look at another basketball team getting ready for the state tournament, the Hutchinson Hawks, and their 3A Player of the Year, Mimi Wood. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Welcome back to Fbx Evening News, everyone. Mike Schultz with you once again for a look at the weather. A beautiful day across the interior and a beautiful night, Saturday night, captured by this young lady who sent in this photograph. Is that a beautiful Northern Lights or what? Mariska Wright? Gorgeous shot. Very angelic looking, and lots of beautiful lights Saturday night. If you have a photograph to share with us, by all means, send it to Mike Schultz at KTVF11.com. Here's what's going on at the airport right now. 16 degrees, that's our high for the day. Low last night, 10 below. Record high in 1933 and record low 1964, 46 below. Sunrise this morning, 8:09. Sunset, 7:54, which gives us 11 hours and 45 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 more minutes from yesterday. Here's what's going on across the rest of the state. You can see some showers falling across the Juneau area. Cloudy skies at Ketchikan. Lots of sunshine across the Gulf of Alaska and across the southwest and western parts of the state. Little snow flurry activity around Barrow and part of the cloudy skies at Fort Yukon, 16 degrees there. Lower 48 weather, well, we're getting another storm coming on the west coast. Right now it's raining around the Seattle area. Elsewhere, some more showers across the northeast. Nice weather across the Central Plains. That's all going to change, though. On our satellite radar, you can see it looks pretty nice across the Central Plains. Still a lot of snow moving across the Great Lakes. Here comes the next big storm. That's going to be a whopper, too. It's all being driven by the jet stream, as you can see here. The jet stream once again moving across from the west to the east. A little cold pocket of air across the northern plains, and then more cold air and snow showers across the Great Lakes. Thunderstorms possible over the deep south. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. For the northern sections, flurries for Barrow. Sunny skies in Nome and mostly cloudy skies at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, a little mixed bag of weather. More clouds for Fairbanks and a few flurries at Healy. Over southeast Alaska, once again, some snow expected in the Juneau area. Mixed rain and snow for Ketchikan. And over the southwest part of the state, we'll be looking at partly cloudy skies for Cold Bay, mostly sunny in Kodiak and Bethel. Over south central regions, nice weather, lots of sunshine at Anchorage and Homer, and partly cloudy in Valdez. New week, which means it's time once again for our kids' weather. And this week we're visiting with the kids from the Immaculate Conception School. Tonight, an interesting story from a young man.
One day I was going to school. It was hard to get the car outside due to snow. When we finally got out, we drove to school. It was 64 Fahrenheit below and 7 inches of snow at school with 12 inches at my house. Apparently, school was canceled when I got there. And so when we drove home, we were slipping and sliding all the way home.
And tomorrow night, a young lady will be here with a very nice picture. Here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Oh, also, again, the Aurora report, 4, moderate 4. That's pretty good chance for seeing some lights tonight, so keep your eyes open around 10 to 11 o'clock this evening. All right, 12 degrees below zero, clear skies. Like I said, good chance for auroras. Tomorrow's forecast, 13 degrees, more clouds and warmer temperatures. And the extended forecast, not too bad. Temperatures getting a little warmer by the end of the period there. Also looking at a little flurry activity possible. That'll be on Wednesday and Thursday, and then temperatures will be slowly warming back up again, still around 10 degrees below zero. And we have some visitors with us tonight, and these are some young men from Den.
Pack.
25.
Yeah.
Is it Pack 25?
Yeah, it's Pack.
All right.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm not very good at that. But anyway, these young men are getting their communication badge tonight.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
You learn a lot?
What was your favorite part? The weather?
Yeah.
No, I think a control room, right?
Control room?
That's pretty cool.
Starship Justice?
Yeah, that's what the control room's called. That's right. Well, congrats.
Oh, you like the studio? Okay.
Very cool. All right, cool. Congratulations, guys.
Good job.
Uh-huh.
High five.
And that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, a financial crisis on the tiny island of Cyprus ripples across world markets. That's next with Brian Williams.
Remember, for all of our news, go to webcenter11.com, and you can also find us on Facebook.
Okay, from all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a great night.
Good night.
Can you leave?
Wait.